It said that Cisco will provide impacted workers who have been let go with various benefits, including training on AI, security, and networking. So the next time you hear people say, well, AI is replacing networking and security jobs, it can, but unless Cisco has a really sick sense of humor, why would they let go security and networking people and then say, oh, go get lessons in courses in AI and networking? Do you see what I'm trying to say? There is a future for you in these things. There's a future for people who know how to do AI-enabled threat monitoring. You're seeing a lab example of how an organization can use cybersecurity threat intelligence and AI in an efficient way to go through terabytes of information in a matter of seconds. The information that would take a human being way too long. We have ways of figuring out how to stop things such as prompt injections. That's a toxic combination where you have AI that has not been properly put together and properly secured so that you can talk to AI into actually revealing passwords. So there are things that we can do and skills that we can have. There are things that we can do. There are various ways that we can do this. There are various ways that we can do this. Cybersecurity AI. Cybersecurity AI. There are three ways you can do it. There are three ways you can do it. You need to get workers that can protect AI itself. Second, you need to make the existing cybersecurity operations that you have more efficient. In other words, red teaming and blue teaming. How can we fix security analytics and fix pen testing to not be fully automated, but to use AI to its full potential? And then governance. Governance is something that takes time. Well, AI moves too fast for traditional governance. How can we speed up governance? Not causing problems, not creating more technical debt, but to speed up governance. Those are the three challenges, right? Each of these concerns is top of mind to industry professionals worldwide. And this need has taken shape more quickly than any other IT offering that we've seen. That's why we have SEC AI Plus, for example. And this has to do with the need for systems thinkers. You'll hear this a lot. The ability for workers to basically, how should I put this? Think in terms of architectures, not just in terms of hacks, but get to think in terms of architectures and also business analytics and business needs. Now, if you want to get more granular than this, yes, we need to manage and secure our AI systems. We need to establish proper foundations to use containers and orchestration better. I already mentioned identity access management, but we need to think in terms of governance, but also, post-quantum cryptography issues are coming down the pike. We need to think about what it means to migrate to new technologies that way to improve our symmetric key encryption security. And then observability, which is more than just visibility. Visibility is looking at a SIM screen. That's fine. Security identification, event management tool. That's fine. But observability is where you are really getting into how systems work together. And that observability is very important to think about. We need to focus on unique combinations, folks. And by unique combinations, compliance with regulations. It's an increasingly regulated world when it comes to cybersecurity. So all of these areas are things that we hit in CompTIA for our infrastructure, cybersecurity, and our data analytics pathways. They are basically they are basically courses that allow us to focus on all of these areas of cybersecurity and more. To do more with less, and to get a compelling skill set that really allows you to use AI in the right way. So if there's nothing else that you take away from this, it's the importance of applied learning. And when I say applied learning, applying AI to a cybersecurity need, to basically get hands-on work whenever you can. If you heard about a concept or a practice, get stuck in on a lab. That's why we offer virtual labs, for example. But hands-on practical training, that is what's going to take your classroom experience and enable you to translate that into real-life experience very quickly. It will allow you, as a worker, to bring instant value as a cybersecurity worker. And that's what today's hiring managers are looking for. So let's see, I think I'm over time. So, or just right around time. But if anybody has any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer them now. Or if I can't answer them, I'll find someone who can. I'm lucky enough to talk to a lot of folks here. So here's a question from, let's see. Well, there's one question I'm afraid I don't know. It's about automating incident response, but I don't know the language. I'm sorry. But here, let me go up to a couple of these questions. Frankie, does that make sense?
James, yeah, James. I think we can see the first from Danny first. I think in English, right? Excuse me, sir, but
Danny?
your opinion is Danny.
Okay, I'll
Is
see.
AI, yeah,
Yeah. Is
right,
AI in the field of cybersecurity ultimately a trend, a threat, or an opportunity? And what is the most important step that students, educators, and industry professionals should take together at this time? First of all, hands-on learning. AI
mm-hmm.
is going to help uh, only if you use it in situations. So that's the first step. Now, I see it as definitely as it's more than a trend. AI is a tool that is basically going to help redefine what you do as a security analyst and as a pen tester. It's not going to replace it. I would argue that, for example, I remember 10 years ago, maybe it was 15, but about 10 years ago, I was talking to somebody, a good professor, and he said, well, everything's moving to the cloud. And I said, well, a lot of things are, not everything. But he said, well, as things move to the cloud providers, AWS, Azure, they have automated pen testing tools that go around fixing that. So that means we don't need pen testers anymore. I heard that 15 years ago. That's not the case. And it's the same way with this. I see that it is a threat to somebody who does not improve their skill sets. If you do pen testing and it's very repetitive, if you've found a way into systems that's just kind of the one way and it always seems to work, then I would argue that you are threatened by AI because it'll pick that up and do it faster than you. But if you're always kind of going, well, it's always so unique, and if you're using an agent to work with you, and if you're starting to use agents, or if you're starting to use AI in the classroom to help you do your work, then I don't see how it's a threat to you in your careers. Now, AI is definitely a threat out in the world because attackers have embraced it wholeheartedly. Recently, I was talking to a CIO, a CISO. He's over a company of about 6 different companies. So he works in a holding company, and 6 different companies were under him. One company got attacked by a phishing attack, and guess what? That phishing attack it went from one company to the next. And the reason why it spread so quickly is they could tell through the sheer variety of the attacks that it wasn't just one person doing the attack or one group or even 2 or 3 human beings. It was many AI systems working together. And the sheer velocity, the sheer variety, the sheer volume of the attacks was that AI is doing it. So yes, in that way, it's definitely be a threat. But the important step that students and educators and pros can take at this time is to use AI practically and to use it in a very directed sort of way. There's another question.
Yes, yeah. Go ahead.
There's another question from Furman, or there's somebody just made a comment. So let me answer Furman's. Do I see AI in cybersecurity for critical sectors like healthcare as more of a defensive opportunity or a new attack surface? Well, that's the problem. AI is a dual purpose thing. Yes, it is something that needs to be defended. So it's an attack thing, but it's also something that can be used by your company to do better vulnerability management. So it's a strange thing. It has to be protected, and so it's yet another part of the technology stack that needs to be protected. Your MCP server, your the agent APIs and the agent application development kits, all of those things, they have to be protected. But the adversaries are leveraging AI. They're doing it in a really good, but a very interesting way. Public institutions have a particular problem because they can't just throw more money at the solution, and they can't stop offering the services that people expect. The first thing that would help is better education of your workers. I've been lucky enough to talk to state and local workers, not only in the United States, but also federal workers in from Singapore to Thailand to workers in Kuala Lumpur and Malaysia, but also the United States, and they all in the government are realizing that cross skilling is very important. And by cross skilling, teaching people AI essentials, how to create good prompts, right? That, and then teaching that to pen testers or teaching that to security analysts, but also teaching people how to, security analysts, for example, about the elements of AI. So cybersecurity workers increasingly need to be given an AI essentials kind of course that tells them, well, look, here's what an LLM is, and here's how it usually gets attacked, and here's what an MCP server is. An MCP server is really cool. It allows an AI system to get additional computing and additional wisdom. But it can be attacked. So how do we protect the API calls and things like that? So those are the important things to think about. So public institutions, education, that's the number one thing. And it's the cheapest way to do it. And it's not just the cheapest way to do it, it's the most efficient way to do it. Yusak is saying, Cisco offered impacted employees access to courses and certs. How can the company ensure that this short-term educational support turns into long-term career resilience? That's a good question. I think they did offer prorated bonuses. That's a really good point. They actually did that too. But education is the number one way that you can reskill, that you can get the current skills. That today is the really key thing. Think about it this way. Back in 1900, there were more blacksmiths than there were mechanics. Right by 1930, there were more mechanics than blacksmiths. Over 30 years, it took that transition about that long. Even in the 20s, there were still horses running around cities, right? What we're seeing now is things aren't taking 30 years to change, 30 months. Recently, I was talking to a CISO of an organization called B1. B1, about $1.5 billion organization in the pharmaceutical industry. And he said, every 3 weeks, his cloud workers, every 3 weeks, are noticing new technologies that are available. Brand new AI-enabled tools, but also brand new cybersecurity tools that they'd never really seen before. 3 weeks. So it's not that technology is changing every 30 years, every 30 months, or even every 18 months. We're way beyond what is it? What's it called? I'll think of it in a minute. Every 3 weeks it's quite changed. So yes, you can give people money, but really you need to focus on upskilling. That's the key. Can AI perform web pen testing? Yes, it can do a good job. There's some good AI platforms out there. For example, using I know Splunk does it, Fortinet. They have AI modules that can do pretty good web pen testing. But right now, it's being used not as a replacement for the pen tester, but as a helper. Because one of the things that's been really a problem for pen testing, the whole industry of pen testing, is there's one, not enough workers, but two, the workers can only skip the surface. They don't have the time to get a little deeper. See, now with AI, they have workers that they can scale and work for them. Those workers are agents. And it actually is making the pen tester more valuable, the human not less valuable, because instead of just skipping along the surface like many do, they can then get deeper into it. So that's a great question, Aji. Thank you. That's a very good question about the pen test results being declared valid. Think about it this way. I'll draw an analogy. I use personally a certified public accountant to do my taxes. Because when I did my own taxes, I think I got audited twice by the federal government, and I didn't want that anymore. I'm lousy at doing my taxes, right? The reason I told you that story is now I have a CPA do it. Why? Well, because if there's some sort of, I've never been audited since, and I know I have somebody who has my back. Pen test results right now can only be declared valid if there's a valid process behind it. So who determines if that's a valid process? It's not always the human in the loop. It's not always the human that does that. I've seen instances where AI can actually say, well, human, you wanted to override what I'm doing, but I'm not sure I can allow that. So, who declares it valid? And it's not necessarily the human, it's not necessarily AI, it's the process that's been validated. And this is where, when I said earlier that 2026 for smart companies is where they're adjusting their workflows and trying to figure out how to really get things done, one of those things is pen testing. They really need to investigate how it's done. And so the process itself becomes more important than even the people, in a sense. It becomes more important than the AI. And so it's an interesting kind of triangle there. So thanks for asking that question, Ajay. That's a really good one.
So, is there anyone to direct question to James? You can open your mic and ask directly to James. Ada yang mau tanya langsung ke James? Silakan. Kalau ada yang mau tanya langsung.
Feel free to put that into the text window, or if you can, you can come off mute, and I can talk to you that way too.
Yeah. So I think James, one of the things that you said is about the upskilling,
Yeah.
in terms of So how the CompTIA can help on this part?
When it comes to upskilling, one of the first things is we've identified so many ways in which people can upskill themselves. So, for example, we feel when it comes to cybersecurity that you enter where it makes sense to enter. And in other words, there's some people who are just doing career changing. And so they need to figure out, okay, look, I'm not at the level, James, where I can create an agent to do pen testing. I barely know what pen testing is. So maybe you need to start at Security Plus. Or maybe you need to start at A plus, because A plus doesn't just teach you how to be a help desk professional. It teaches you how all of the computers work. Computers like your mobile phone or your smartwatch or your desktop computer. It teaches endpoints. And by endpoints, I mean servers and all the computers. And then Network Plus teaches how they all talk to each other. So you need to start where it makes sense. If you're already a security analyst, if you're already somebody and you're like, well, you know what, I really need to get into the essentials of AI. Look, we have something called AI Essentials that will do a great job pointing out how you can work with better prompting and things. But we also have a course called Sec AI Plus. And Sec AI Plus is basically a course that teaches you three things. One, how to secure AI itself. Remember, I was talking about all those toxic combinations that affect not only AI but various, almost any technology. Well, Sec AI Plus identifies where some of the key areas where AI gets attacked and how to solve that problem. That's cool. That's the first part. Second, Sec AI Plus shows how you can take pen testing and security analytics activities, specific ones, and make them more efficient. For example, cybersecurity threat intelligence and how to read that better. So that Sec AI Plus does a great job with that. Another thing that you might want to think about is a course in here. I'm not sure I have it listed. Oh, I do. Auto Ops Plus. You can say, well, James, Auto Ops Plus isn't a security cert, but just, go with me on this. Auto Ops Plus teaches kind of the DevSecOps kind of approach. It teaches how you can use infrastructure as code. It teaches how you can automate using orchestration, how you can automate and orchestrate, how you can use Kubernetes and containers and things like that. And then what it does, it teaches you how you can set up a proper foundation so that you don't have as much technical debt. A proper foundation for your cloud, for your data center, for your on-premise. That's pretty cool. So there are various courses that are out that we have out there, both from a beginner perspective, but also from an advanced perspective, that can teach that there. That can teach that. Is that what you were asking, Frankie? Specific ways to get a hold of this stuff, to learn about this stuff?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's one of the things. Yeah, but if you notice, also I think I believe also in another part of the world, right? There are some certification outside CompTIA. They also specific on the let's say the hacker on the hacker side, on the specific, but the combination of the AI and the cybersecurity, I think we only will find it on the CompTIA, right?
That's right. It's fairly unique what we've done with Sec AI Plus. Is I call it an industry snapshot. It's taken a snapshot. That's what's happening this year when it comes to the combination of AI and the cybersecurity profession. So it's been interesting to see how traditional cybersecurity tasks are being changed a bit. I'm not really saying that there are new cybersecurity job roles out there, but those existing job roles are being messed with. This individual skills in there. When I say messed with, they're being altered a bit. And SecAI Plus does a very good job of outlining exactly what's changing. I use the example of cybersecurity threat intelligence. Another example is along the lines of pen testing, the discovery process in pen testing. Like if somebody wants to do a pen test of a computer that I have, well, usually you get out your trusty copy of Nmap, and you might do some who is lookups. There are various things that you can do. It's the whole reconnaissance step. Well, how can AI speed that up? And how can AI do that in a much faster way and do that at the same time as you are doing actual work trying to get into a system? Because the traditional hacker pathways, the traditional hacker life cycle, like the MITRE attack model, that's what it's called, MITRE attack model, or the old cybersecurity the Lockheed cybersecurity kill chain, which I still think is quite useful. Those those models will basically say, well, you do recovery, you do discovery, and then you weaponize, and then you do initial penetration. You get you establish a foothold. You do lateral movement, actions on objectives, all those things, right? Well, what's cool with AI as a pen tester is you can have AI while AI is doing the discovery, and then it gives you some information about a weakness. Then you could set up AI to say, okay, I need you to weaponize this particular weakness. They seem to be using an old version of Linux, so we'll go after that. And then you can have then you can do rediscovery and say, well, is that just a web? Is that just a honeypot or not? So there are all sorts of ways that you can use AI to add more nuance and more subtleties and do that much faster to your pen testing, for example. So that's I think a really important approach, a really
Yeah.
important thing to think about. And so we can, and here's the thing, so many people still even don't even know what pen testing quite is. So it's like, you know what, if you were to take Pen Test Plus, for example, and Sec AI Plus, and combine that with a bit of AI prompting essentials, holy cow, you now have a skill set that I won't say it's future proof, but it's going to set you up for better opportunities in the future, and it'll get you on that learning path that you need.
Yeah, that's also interesting, yeah, James, because sometimes the report, right, from the pen tester, right? But
Yeah.
if you notice also there are some platform they use, there are always some AI capabilities inside now. But is then they know exactly what happened, how to solve it in details. That's why sometimes when I got the pen tester report, I will actually get to the person directly. Can you explain more
Yes.
detail?
Sure. Well, and that's an interesting thing about AI. For example, the first time I got hired on as a technical role was on a pen testing team, and they specifically said, James, look, we like how you break into stuff, but we also see that you know how to write, and none of us wants to write the report because most of the times we geek out too much and give too much information, and you seem to have an understanding of, well, who's going to read this or who should read this. And AI doesn't do a great job with that yet, but it's learning, and it is doing a pretty good job. It's starting to show kind of an awareness for the audience, and I think that's important to think about. And that's another way that AI can be used in pen testing, not to write the report. That would be, I think, disastrous, but to kind of offer guardrails and say, look, I thought this was for an exec audience, and exec audience doesn't care about what ports you grabbed or what tool you used. What they care about is, well, how much risk is there? How much is this going to cost me, and how do I fix it? And do I really need to spend that kind of money? And how much money is it? AI can provide good guardrails for that. And I think that's really important to think about because too many times a pen test gets ignored because it went into too much detail or sometimes not enough. It just didn't hit the audience. I've seen that time and time again. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, Pak
Yeah.
Frankie. I think a lot of
Yeah,
discussion. Happy. Sorry, I've jumped in. Just a quick one.
Yeah, sure.
Can I have like a 5 minutes to just to give some summarize about CompTIA program that probably will help the job role, the enterprise,
Yeah,
the
sure.
community. If
Yeah.
possible, I will just do some sharing for 5 minutes according to what I have here. To align to what Jim have shared and what probably in demanded in Indonesia. Is it possible, Pak Frankie? Just a quick one.
Sure. Go
I
ahead.
think I try to share my slides.
Okay, let me
Jim's-
stop sharing here and then you can. There you go.
Just a quick one to relate. Okay, yeah, this is. Yeah, so I think everyone able to see my slides. Supposed to, yeah, Pak Frankie. Okay, yeah.
Okay, sudah okay. Sudah okay. Yeah.
Okay, just maybe that some in relation to what James have shared dan juga terlihat ya questions ataupun soalan-soal dari pihak yang datang buat sesi webinar ini, yaitu ya, beberapa sisi ya dari sesi foundationnya, basicnya untuk learn career in IT, cybersecurity dan juga AI. Dan untuk pertengahannya mereka yang di sisi karier boleh melihatkan beberapa domain yang harusnya dipertingkatkan skillsnya seperti advanced role, project management, business and so on. Jadi buat sisi digital fluency itu punyanya program seperti essential, buat core skillsnya, buat intermediate-nya, program sertifikasi dan terakhir itu khusus buat program seperti security AI yang memberi nilai tambah on top of the all skills available di sisi literature dan juga sisi infrastructure dan cybersecurity. Jadi secara keseluruhannya mungkin kalau kalian udah bisa lihat atau pertama kali melihat kan punya dua sisi ya, kompetisi certificate dan juga certifications dari CompTIA. Kedua ini menunjukkan permulaan basis ataupun fundamental yang melibatkan digital dan juga AI, dan keduanya sisi sertifikasi di mana punya 3 infrastruktur IT, cybersecurity dan juga data analytics. Jadi yang terkait dengan AI ini effort ataupun solutions learning dari pihak CompTIA yang bisa majukan program seperti AI fluency titles di mana terdapat AI essential, AI prompting, AI helpdesk dan juga bagi dari sisi sales dan marketing juga terdapat beberapa yang boleh membantu bisnes anda performing menggunakan tools AI dan juga kefahaman tentang how to project profiling the customer and so on. On the other hand juga, kalau dilihatkan dari sisi sertifikasinya tadi, saya sarankan sini melihat kembali dari topik kita hari ini ya, cybersecurity dan AI. Kita punya penyediaan buat program cybersecurity seperti CompTIA Security Plus. Kalau buat tim defense-nya, SISA Plus. Buat tim offense-nya, Pentest Plus. Langsung maju kalau punya tambahan yang mau ekspansi kepada AI, seperti pertanyaan dari Firman tadi daripada pihak akademik juga ya, kita boleh melihatkan penambahan CompTIA Security Plus. Dan juga tidak ketinggalan ya belajarnya data, kefahaman database, data security, di mana tadi sekali kita punya program data AI. 3 ini memanfaatkan pemahaman penyediaan tools AI. Ini saran saya juga ya dari satu journey ya buat mereka enterprise, government, academic. Permulaannya lihat dari sisi foundation dan juga essentials ya, program-program yang bisa kita lihat bantu digital literacy. Keduanya itu lihat dari sisi digital skills ya, itu untuk mereka yang di luar IT ataupun adjacent di dalam IT, ada gabungan belajarnya cloud, belajar data analysis, jadi punya gabung sama AI essentials. Yang ketiga itu saya katakan tadi 3 dan 4, mereka yang bermain sama data dan mereka yang bermain sama cybersecurity. So dua-dua ini kita punya journey ataupun roadmap ya, path di mana terdapat data AI, pengakhiran dan juga security AI yang bisa bantu anda untuk memahami how to secure your data, how to secure your entire network ataupun your devices, your services, bermain dengan AI, karena attack itu datang dari AI, harus dilawan sama AI. So embrace with AI, dan kalau saya lihatkan dari sisi role based skills, ini currently contohnya saya lihatkan government role atau enterprise role ataupun mereka yang di sisi tech nasional ya. Saya rekomendasi melihatkan salah satu contoh yang ada di sisi role-nya itu, apa recommendation path atau program yang ada dan apa outcome yang kita bisa dapat bila belajarnya sertifikasi ataupun competency certificate ataupun essential dari CompTIA. So, saya jadi tidak go in detail, but then ini antara rekomendasi, contohnya helpdesk belajarnya AI CompTIA Plus, belajarnya AI essential dan juga AI helpdesk. Kalau lihat dari sisi mereka yang belajar untuk bikin job role IT security officer ya, melihatkan mungkin gabungannya udah technical ya, security dan juga CompTIA security AI. Ini bisa mendapat outcome seperti securing AI deployment dan monitoring. Nah, jadi untuk keseluruhan ini terus mulain assess untuk mappingnya. Kemudian harus lihat ya dari sisi karyawannya, dari sisi keperluan skillsnya, kemudian train dan ensure setiap pelatihan itu ada yang tersertify untuk validasi ya skills yang sedia ada. Dan terakhir sekali untuk membangunkan timnya ya, mungkin ini bisa bantu untuk setiap aktiviti yang certified ini kita menambahkan lagi keperluan lain dari sisi training dan lain-lainnya. So itu buat dari CompTIA, and then why CompTIA are able to help you, why CompTIA are able to be part of the solution tentang upskilling dan reskilling dan kompetensi yang diperlukan. Kerana ini kita yang kerjasama komplement, tidak ada lock-in ya, iaitu as a vendor neutral certification provider. Sebenarnya CompTIA freedom on multiple platform, tidak terkait hanya satu platform ataupun atau services atau device. And then melihat ini CompTIA itu sudah membantu solusi lebih dari 4 juta pengguna sertifikasi dan 10 juta yang professional certified, dan satu-satunya 1 jutanya datangnya dari Security Plus saja. And then sudah berbasis presented di almost seluruh pelosok dunia ya. And all in all kita melihatkan ini bantu banget baik dari tim departmental ataupun individual ya, untuk mendapatkan better jobs performance. Nah, jadi saran saya tidak dilakukan sekarang, malah bisa lihat secara individual training, diagnose apa skillsnya, dan ataupun secara dibuat secara pilot, mulain dulu, belajar dulu kemudian tersertifikasi. So I think itu saran saya, penambahan tentang untuk akselerasikan cybersecurity dan AI di Indonesia. So yeah, that is some of the sharing penambahan dari apa yang Pak James sharingkan dan juga apa yang tertanya dari sisi komunitas Aptiknas membershipnya di Indonesia. Sekian dari saya, Pak.
Oke, thank you Pak Eril. Jadi teman-teman pasti sudah jelas semua ya apa yang tadi disampaikan. Tapi kita ada program ya, jadi teman-teman nanti bisa lihat di chat atau nanti juga bisa kontak ke Aptiknas ya buat teman-teman yang mungkin masuk lewat community ya. Jadi mungkin belum masuk ke portal untuk registrasi ya. Jadi kami sudah sampaikan di kolom chat untuk bisa ikut program CompTIA dengan Aptiknas, itu bisa langsung join. Okay, good. I think the time is up, James. The time is up, James. We're very happy to hear the insights and everything you just share with us. And I hope you have a good time in Melbourne now.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, hopefully you will come to Indonesia again, and we can have a short discussion, more detail about this, and very interesting topic. Yeah.
You bet. I'm glad you invited me. Hyrule has said no, James can't come. No, just kidding. Frankie, if you want us there, we're gonna go. Right, Hyrule? I'm ready.
Okay. I think we will have the session, yeah, Pak Eril, yeah, the on-site session later on. I think in the next few months, yeah. Hopefully, the CompTIA can come to Indonesia, yeah.
I'm ready. That's great.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So, jadi teman-teman, itu sesi kita sore ini. Sebelum kita closing, I will ask you some closing remark. But after the photo session, ya. Jadi silakan teman-teman buka kameranya, kita mau foto session bersama dahulu. kita akan foto bersama dengan James Stenger dan Mr. Haril. Jadi silakan buka kameranya, Norma, bantu capture foto kita ya. Silakan buka kameranya. Coba, ya ini bisa daylight ya. Oke. Ya ini teman-teman semua silakan buka kameranya, kita mau foto sesi dulu. Ini tidak hanya dari Aptiknas, ini dari banyak juga teman-teman dari community yang terkait dengan Aptiknas. Pada siang kali ini terima kasih semua teman-teman. Tadi sudah dibagikan di grup chat ya, silakan join untuk bisa ngikutin atau dapat special prize CompTIA ya, certification ya. Nah, Mak, silakan Mak.
Oke, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, sebentar. Ya, sudah Pak Pati.
Okay, James, your turn to closing remark.
My turn. My turn to what?
The closing remark.
To
The
close.
closing remark.
I'm sorry. My hearing is terrible. Closing remarks. You know, the one thing I just want to say to everybody: keep on learning. That's to me the most important thing that you can do. Don't let anything take away your God-given right to keep learning. That's the most thing that's going to keep you valuable and keep you happy in your life. So take care. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much, James Stenger from the CompTIA, Pak Haril, for your sharing and insight to us today. Hopefully we can meet you directly in person in Jakarta ya. Jadi teman-teman itu sesi kita pada sore kali ini. Terima kasih sekali CompTIA, terima kasih sekali teman-teman. Kita bisa selesaikan sesi pada sore kali ini. Jadi jangan lupa ya, kita masih banyak kegiatan di Aptiknas. Silakan teman-teman bisa ikuti kegiatan kita selanjutnya. Kita juga masih ada sesi webinar besok ya, tiap Kamis kita ada sesi webinar, silakan join, dan juga next week juga masih ada ya. Buat teman-teman yang mau ikutan program TIA sudah ada di chat box, silakan join ya. Programnya kita bisa mendapatkan harga khusus, harga Aptiknas ataupun harga mitra Aptiknas. Once again, thank you James, thank you Pak Heril. Terima kasih teman-teman semua. Sampai bertemu kembali di kegiatan selanjutnya ya. Thank you,
Terima
thank you.
kasih ya. Thank you James, thank you Pak. Thank you.
Take care.
Tim.
Thank you semua. Terima kasih.
Bye.
Thank you.